Hello and welcome to Simulacra Studios presents Trinity Continuum Aeon Luna Rocks. I am your story guide Scott, and today we have Nigel playing Bram,
Hello.
Puka playing Mycelian, and Murphy
Greetings.
playing Hannah. Ugh. How are y'all doing tonight?
Doing good.
Okay, how are you?
Doing good. Clearly not capable of pronouncing the English language, but since when has that been a thing? Anyway, so obviously we're missing Diane tonight, but that's just fine. So when we last left our punks on the moon, they had been digesting quite a bit of new information regarding the world and their state in it, including some fairly shady comings and goings regarding a phone. I believe you had all eventually made your way back to the common crash space. As a way of just regrouping and formulating plans going forward. Shortly thereafter, a black hopper, which is the closest thing to a car that you have on the moon. It's essentially a independent vehicle that can fly between the sections of the habitation domes. Arrives on the street of your domicile. Four obviously armed people get out of it. These are people that Frankie does recognize. So when they say in no uncertain terms that she is coming with them, it happens. Like I said, she seems to recognize them, and they are brooking no argument, so it happens in pretty short order. And she is taken off, presumably, to meet with her father. What would the three of you be doing in the aftermath of that?
Pacing.
Attempting to
Freaking
sleep.
out a little bit.
It's been a long day.
All right, then. So yeah, you're eventually able to get some sleep and can freak out to the degree that you can. You do get a message from her shortly thereafter, basically saying that she's okay and that it's probably going to be a while.
Well, find out what your dad knows, I guess. I guess let us know when you know.
Indeed. So you guys still have the Bang Show, which is pretty much ready to go. You could do the initial performances without Frankie. It's not something that has a lead singer position. So you could definitely get that underway, get the premiere underway. That you don't necessarily need her for it because it does kind of run itself. That's something you guys could be bringing up in line. You haven't set a firm release date or premiere date for it yet, but it is essentially, with a few tweaks here and there, ready to go. You guys have reviewed the document from the Aeon facility, but there's probably more that you can extract from that if you wanted to dig into that. And you have various contacts and other people that you can talk to. You have the mystery of the captive ? People down the subterranean facility. So what are you guys wanting to explore with the time that you have? We'll start with Mycelian.
I mean, as much as I would like to do right by those people who told me in that alternate timeline, I suppose at this point, that they weren't happy being there. In this timeline, they're still there and they're still under, so I don't think there's really a rush, and I'm 100% into doing a show.
Okay.
I mean, I think we ought to. We did say we would, and I think there's like a whole showbiz saying about that.
Yeah, can't disappoint the fans and all. So.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I take it to mean then that you are getting those final tweaks done and getting the show up and running?
Yeah, and I will coordinate with, or I'll make sure we have the tickets make sure everybody knows about the marked tickets and to let them go wherever they want.
Yeah, that can be easily updated in the ticketing system. What about Bram? What's Bram up to?
I think Bram is going to take the opportunity to try and actually enjoy the show, given that security is being taken care of by, what was her name?
Patience.
Patience. And Frankie isn't here, so he's a little lost. I think he's going to try and enjoy the show and just sort of use it as a means of exploring his psionicism.
Okay. That is certainly a possibility. Now, the show that you guys are planning is not inherently a Mosian show because you didn't have a bang
Not
board.
yet.
Not yet. But
I brought that with me
okay, that's
just
fair.
in case.
Yeah, that is something that you can certainly bring with you. So you guys heading down to the workspace, the performance space, and getting that taken care of then?
Have our load in.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you can get that done. It's pretty easy to bring all the last minute equipment and such. So, remind me just for myself and the listeners, because it's been a little bit. What's the theme here? How is this project, how is this performance supposed to go?
We took some like kind of basic fairy tale story skeletons and like have different spaces set up for people to kind of walk through and rewrite the stories themselves. And then as they do so, we basically were making it so we would be there. I believe the idea was we'd be there watching them and responding on the fly with adding their imagery that they add and then story elements that they add, so that each room would be like a page from a fairy tale. And then at the end, we were aggregating it all into kind of a packageable experience that could be sent home with them. Or I don't remember exactly how we were going to do that, but I think that was kind of the idea, and it would be built upon iteratively as the show goes on.
Okay.
It was very small groups, like 8 people, I think, small groups at a time.
Absolutely. So you definitely have like that's a whole different setup than a big concert, kind of or club experience. So how much lead time are you giving from announcing this and releasing the tickets before having the first show?
I was probably actually going to suggest we try to get a few people that we know to do a trial run as our first show, kind of a soft open, so we could have something already built and see where the difficult spots are.
Yeah, there are certainly people that you know.
Other people in the scene.
Yeah,
Invite Marty if they want to come.
I mean, you have a relationship with Rising Sion, from who are the Sai Nippon group. Those are the first people who come to mind since you had a working relationship with them, and they are certainly eager to check out, get first run on your show if that's something you offer to them.
Yeah, I'll send them and Marty a message. Y'all got any other ideas? Obviously, I think Bram was going to come through, so it'd be kind of a small group. But
It almost seems like the kind of thing with which one should leverage path contact.
That may very
Yes.
well be a thing you could do.
that is my that's Marty for me, the Muzzy and
Okay.
Bang influencer, I believe.
Yeah, we can establish them as your path contact at this point. Well, why don't everyone pick a path roll if they want to try and leverage that, and make a roll for me for that to see what type of folks you can get in on the first couple performances.
Is that path plus an attribute?
Yes. So which path will you be rolling, and what attribute will you be pairing it with?
I will be rolling Wonder Root with, I think, Composure, because I'm trying to put a show together despite being under stressful stuff where I really want to be doing something else.
Fair enough.
If that's acceptable.
Yeah,
Trying to appear.
absolutely.
3 successes.
Okay, so you actually are able to arrange for one of the first sort of trial / premiere performances. Marty does put some time in their schedule to show up. What about Mycelian? What path will you be rolling for this?
I think I want to do Bang Artist.
Okay.
That's, so my contact for that is my junk dealer, essentially.
Sure. Yeah.
Random computer parts and whatnot.
Yeah, you can get some. See what person they can rustle up. So which attribute are rolling with that?
How does presence strike you, just in terms of enthusiasm?
Sounds good.
You know, talking it up. One success, so
Yeah,
maybe one guest will show.
yeah. You get one guest. You get they through the grapevine they get someone who's kind of someone who is well known in sort of the technical side of the bang scene, who is eager to take a look, because you guys do have something of reputation, from your previous show, from your collaboration with Rising Sion on the Casa de Gay project, as well as Frankie's real recent single. So yeah, you've got some cachet in the scene. So you get one person who's pretty well known to show up there. What about Bram? Would Bram be trying to get some notable people in on this thing, or is he just there to have an experience?
Of the three paths that have contacts, of the three path contacts he has, one I think is the most accessible, and it's his Dyad path. Is an old friend. They both grew up together. She wound up becoming a sex worker and a doc in the box, essentially. She knows enough like first aid to patch people up. Her name is Malone.
Okay.
And I roll one dot for my path, and then I've got really take your pick of anything, but I've got twos and both force and not finesse. What's the third one?
Resilience.
So, and I don't really feel like cunning or dexterity would work. So I've got 2 dice and literally everything else. So I came up with 2 successes.
Okay, 2 successes. Yeah, she definitely shows up, and she has some people from her street that she's willing to bring along. That she thinks might be good to have a good night out, given that it's a more low key experience. So you guys have some people that come by for a couple of rounds. Excuse me, of sort of low key premiere for the situation, and based off all of your planning, all your preparation, the fact that this isn't a very hands-on experience, you're kind of like letting the algorithm do its thing with nudges here and there. It goes well. People have really good feedback, some really good, positive experiences from it, and you start to garner a low-key base of word-of-mouth excitement about this. And so when you are ready to start opening it up for tickets and sales, you think the word of mouth is going to do well on this.
Right. Yeah, I guess we should maybe give it a week in between so people can build up some thoughts on it, and then we should open it up to the general public, or at least that's. I think we should set our official grand opening for a week from today. What y'all think? What y'all think?
I'm fine with that.
I'm good with
Don't
that.
want to sit on it too long, but do want to give Frankie time to do whatever she's doing. So
if you want to generate some buzz, we can always have someone die.
That's a possibility, but I guess what?
Well, let's talk
call
about rumor that somebody died.
I mean, we could. All right, I got an idea. We could have some sock puppet accounts maybe mention them. They didn't see her at the thing and wondering where she is.
Ooh, it's even better.
Hey, it's already working on it.
Nice. Okay, that's
like
that. That will
drop a bug in Marty's ear to be like, "Hey, you didn't see our lead singer. Isn't that weird?" Anyway, bye.
Yeah.
Wherever could she be? She's mysteriously indisposed for some reason.
Ooh. Yeah. So you
Rumors of the death of Frankie have been greatly overreported.
Indeed.
Hey, nobody's saying that. I'm just saying. People are saying.
Yeah, so that certainly adds some mystery to the proceedings. So yeah, you definitely, after the first couple of trial runs and soft premieres, get a lot of word of mouth going on it.
After the first night, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go. No.
Oh, I was gonna pull my Cilium aside, and I was so I know you don't work quite the same as him, pointing at Brand. How does your what can you do with your side stuff? exactly? Do you know?
I mean, still trying to figure it out, you know. There's like the poking people in the brain part,
Yeah,
and
that's the part I wanted to know about.
yeah,
Like,
well,
do you see their thoughts? Do you connect to them the way Bran can kind of talk to all of us? Like,
I don't
what kind of brain
I don't
poking we
know. I
talking about
mean,
here?
I've been too busy to try experimenting too much, but I don't think it's quite the same for me. It's more like the thoughts that are out there um, become part of my thoughts, and then part of my thoughts become part of their thoughts, and it's all colorful and harmonious and just kind of integrated in this really, you know, calming kind of way. That, and I think I can also shoot electricity from my fingers.
Well, I don't.
I don't think that's
That's very
related.
probably not as useful in the context of a public performance. But
Well, you never know. I mean,
I guess what the
I've
reason I was
been.
asking is, oh, kid 'em.
She wants to be on camera tonight. So
I'm part of it. I guess the reason I was asking about all that was I was wondering if we could be able to like maybe take your ability to do that kind of thing and really feedback what people are already feeling to them in a bigger way. If you and I could connect, and I kind of pointed the bang board. I don't really have the vocabulary for all this, but um,
you're blowing my mind, Hannah.
well, I don't know. I don't really have any naturally creative ideas of my own I want to share, but being able to mix other people's together and reinterpret them might be kind of neat.
3 things. First, never sell yourself short on creativity because you've got more creativity in your little finger than most of the boneheads that I've met here on this lunar surface. Second, I'm with you. Let's plug fingers and digits and toes and whatever else into that monstrosity and see what happens. 3, I think before we do that, we should get some energy bars or something.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Bram, you want to help us out with this little experiment? It might work better if we can all kind of be connected to each other brain-wise.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's get some energy bars and try this thing out.
Okay, so how are you going about trying this out? I mean, you're going to have an audience at first, or
Well, I was actually going to ask Marty and anyone to maybe because they already know,
Mm.
and because we need some people to be our substrate to try this on. Because guys, this will expose us. Because we need
Just
people.
press switches and see what happens.
Okay.
Or
Well,
we can just press the switches and see what happens.
I'll let that path roll. And I'll say that you set up a meeting with Marty, shortly after to discuss the matter, because that is something that you should probably have a
Yes.
conversation out.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to spring it on them without like explaining what we're trying.
Sure. So they meet you in shortly after that small run of trial runs. They meet you at your performance space, and they come alone. And I don't recall, did Bram or Mice ever have a conversation with this person?
I think
Not ringing a
last
bell.
time they were around, I think I hid myself
Gotcha.
with my side cloak.
Okay.
Yeah, and
noted.
before they show up, I do ask if you guys are all right talking about this with them.
I mean,
And what's their deal again?
Oh, remember that when I had my my little freak out where this happened to me, it was at it was at their show.
and they know that you're a Syad?
Yeah, they figured me out right away.
Yeah. If they haven't done anything bad to you, then reckon they're good with me. So yeah, I'm fine with them knowing. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
I mean, I still feel a little unsure about it, but
Well, they will if
Yes,
you
ma'am.
do your thing with them present, they'll see it. That's the reason I'm asking.
yeah. Well, I guess it's got to happen sometime, right?
Up to you. Like I said, we can cancel it or just ask them for help with the bang board or something if we don't want to jump right in with both feet.
Well,
I'll keep my cuttlefish self closed for the time being, and then maybe feel things out once they get here.
Sounds good.
I'm also a telepath, so you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was kind of hoping for both of you, but I think your ability to be able to connect us all will really help.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, let's do this and go off to go meet Marty.
Okay, yeah. Well, Marty comes to meet you.
Right.
They come to your performance space just to sort of have a bit more of a casual experience. You meet them kind of. You meet them at the sort of the gate area of your place, and eventually you guys move your way into kind of the backstage area where there's some couches.
And I drop my side cloak once we're back there. Once we're kind of away from where anybody who happens to be wandering around deep underneath the moon might see us.
Yeah. What about Bram? Are you going in hot, or are you cloaking yourself?
I'll go in without my cloak up.
Okay, and Mycelium is keeping your side cloak up. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, they come in. They sit on some of your couches and kind of like look around your stuff. Do you have the bang board out yet, or?
I pull it out once they sit down.
Okay.
All right, hey Marty, I gotta show you this cool thing I got, and I might need your help with.
Oh my! You got your hands on one of these babies.
Yeah, I was able to use it a little bit. It's pretty neat.
Well, I gotta say, this is great. I mean, it's really hard to make one of these available if you're trying to be a little clandestine about it, which I'm imagining you are.
At the moment, not sure exactly when I'm ready to go public about this kind of thing, but you're already in the know.
Oh
You're
yeah,
a
yeah,
good person to talk
absolutely.
to.
And they kind of look over to Bram a bit and kind of like nod and say, "So I see you have friends."
Indeed, you'd be surprised at the people this kind of thing has opened the doors to meeting. Um, so we actually had an idea for a Mosaic experience, and I kind of wanted you. Was kind of hoping you'd help us test run it.
Well, I'm
Bram, you
all
wanna?
for it. I mean, I've uh, I've pushed the limits of it myself, as far as I can tell. But I've never had the pleasure of seeing someone who hasn't been dunked at the helm. I'm wondering how different that might be.
I'm sure compared to what you're used to, this will be a little rough around the edges since I'm real new. And honestly, now that we're here, a little nervous about about doing this with you here. I might should have thought this through more. But
It's all right. It's all right. We've all started somewhere.
so we wanted to try kind of an experiment. Bram Bram can connect his thoughts to mine,
Right, right.
and we were kind of hoping to do something where we kind of take your experience of the muzzing and of what we're already displaying, what we're already playing, and then feed that back in to kind of create like a feedback loop system,
You know,
kind of reinterpret.
I'm familiar. Most Museum goes primarily off of clairsentience, but telepathy is a really good substrate, like a harmony to it.
I thought, yeah, the idea was kind of working those two together.
It's been done, and I'm eager to see how it works with you. But what excites me about this
Yeah,
prospect is the fact that you have, it seems, the potential to pull in even more types of things. I mean, it's real. It's been tried before, like hooking a teleporter up, or a biokinetic up, and it doesn't jive. But to have someone who has clairsentience and something else, that intrigues me, because who knows how far we can push this if if you don't have the same limits as we do.
I don't really know. I mean, the main thing I actually do besides even more than the clairsentience is um vitakinesis stuff, I guess. I guess it's the
Really,
same as what they do.
really.
Yeah.
See, that sounds really like a performance that actually invigorates people.
You know, one of the things I'm best at with doing with it is improving emotional states of people with it. So maybe if we combine that with the telepathy and the vitakinesis of that, that might be pretty powerful.
It might be an actual therapeutic performance. I think that has legs. I think.
Well, would you mind if maybe I was thinking maybe Mice could start us off with some holographic imagery that we could start with, and then Bram and I could try this performance with you too. I have a feeling the more up to a point having people to work with is the important part.
You're right. I mean, we
Two or
could we
three is
could
probably
we
the
could
start.
absolutely do a test run. I'm all for that. And push comes to shove. I know some people who can be trusted, who are all about the new, and would be certainly compelled to keep their mouth shut about it. I mean, I've done a couple of secret performances myself. That for one reason or another, I don't want the word of it getting out.
Mm-hmm.
Some experiments don't end up very well.
Exactly.
But I can bring in some people. But if you want to do just a test run with just a couple of
I
us,
would do a little practice run with just the four of us right now. I want to make sure we don't hurt ourselves, because again, I'm very new at all this, and
sure,
okay, I want to
sure.
make sure I don't hurt myself.
Anna,
Be
you're gonna be
specific.
fine.
All right. Well,
Um,
I'm assuming you've done some trial run here. You know how to use it, right?
A bit, yeah.
Right, right. Well, why don't you get it?
Maybe.
Why don't you get yourself set up? I can look at your technique and sort of check out your connections just to make sure that everything's running right because they can be tricky.
Sounds good. So I like to meditate a little bit beforehand. I don't know if you have anything specific rituals you go through, but
I mean, I do know how to do the tikia. That's a pretty common practice,
that.
and I do like to do it myself before a show.
Oh, good. What kind of question? I mean, all right. So that's exactly what I was gonna do. Um, and I was thinking kind of what I'd look into is what kind of questions do we want answered, or do we? But if you have a better idea,
You know what?
we're going more on emotion
think
here. But
yeah. I mean, I think I'm here as a advisor and someone who can see where things are going. So yeah, I think you should ask something that you're wanting to know, something personal, something driving. Maybe not you, maybe your friends have something they're curious about that you can sort of have a little bit of distance from it.
I've looked at Mice and Bram.
I've got some things I want to explore. Funnily enough, my own nature as as a Syad is something that I'm very curious about, and I've been trying to do a lot of just self-examination. I feel like I'm kind of close to something. So this would be a good opportunity for that, but I don't want to bogart the stage, as it were.
I mean, there's four of us, so that's impossible. Mice, you got any thoughts on the kind of stuff I should meditate on before we get started?
I mean, ditto everything Bram said, but also because Frankie's not here, I know it's maybe a little more mundane and practical than we usually aim for, but
Please.
how will we integrate Frankie into the performance once she's available?
All right.
All right, so go ahead and what question are you asking as part of your Takir roll? Because it really is focused on a question.
Yes. Uh, because I'm trying to go for performance is less than use the Takir roll as part of the performance. I think I'm going to ask a very open-ended question of how do we all integrate ourselves into this world.
Okay.
Ice is a newcomer here, and I'm trying to work with something that really does connect all of us together, even if we're not all on the telepathic mind link.
Okay, cool. All right, so go ahead and make that psi integrity roll.
I think for Mice's part, they kind of want to see how it goes without revealing their own side potential.
Yes.
And then they'd be like, okay, so we tried that. Now let's maybe work one more person.
Man. All right, I'm rolling really, really good so far. Okay, well, I got 3 successes again.
3 successes. Fantastic. Okay. So you put that out into the world. You begin to focus on it. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'm told
I was
I'm
going to ask Nigel if he would start the mind link with us when he gets
yeah,
back.
when he gets back. So yeah, you start doing that, and the bang board starts interfacing with your sound system, with your audio system, with Mice's sort of algorithmic holo projector, and the space begins to fill with holographic water. Because it always comes back to that with your visions.
Yeah, once I kind of come up and see the water around us, I'll make eye contact with Bram and like, you wanna link us up?
So, does the board itself have some sort of means for me to connect, or is it more just a receiver?
It's attuned to Hannah. So its sort of psi connection is through her.
So Hannah would be the connection point.
Yeah. So if you were to make a network that included Hannah, that would certainly make things work out.
That's what I will do then.
Okay. So go ahead and make a roll for that, just to make sure that you can do that successfully.
So I have spent hard-earned XP. My psi has gone up to 3 now.
Oh shit!
Nice.
So I'm rolling. Mind share is 1. Psi is now 3. So I'm rolling 4 dice. Two successes. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So you are able to establish that network, and it's like a cooler undercurrent of water begins to flow throughout the performance space, and you feel that with that flow, a mental connection start to form. And so because Hannah, you have to stay with the bang board in order
Yes.
to do that, and it's not something really you can carry around. So is it? So Marty is going out into the performance space, and was it Bram and Mice going as well, or who all's going out into the performance space?
I would like to stay with Hannah.
Okay.
But there's an important question. Hannah, who do you want the connection points to be? Yourself and me, yourself and Marty?
Whoever. I was thinking if we could, all 4 of us, if Mice is down. To also
My
do.
network can only do 2 people because I rolled 2 successes.
Oh, all right. Yeah, let's do you, me, and Marty, because I think having an outside perspective would actually be something I kind of want to experience with this, because that was
Okay.
my idea with bringing another person in.
Okay.
Then before Marty leaves, I will. I've got my hand kind of out on Hannah's shoulder, and I'll turn to her and put my hand out and say, "I would like to connect to you if you're okay with that."
Yeah, they just sort of very casually, like they've done it millions of times before, just slip their hand into yours, hold it briefly, and you feel a connection form.
And with that, I'll let go and just kind of like keep centered, but still maintaining that.
Okay. So Mice, are you going out in the space as well, or is just Marty walking out there?
I'm gonna stay up there with the
Okay,
other 2.
so the
My
three of-
likes to
okay.
be
Okay.
designing things.
So Marty goes out and starts walking the space, and it's at this point, now that sort of the things are in the flow, that you, Hannah, start to really focus on that question, try and integrate it out into the space. And the bang board does have like sort of like terminal projections as well that you can have, so you guys can see kind of not the full experience, but kind of bird's eye view of what's going on out there. So Hannah, your vision starts to coalesce, and it starts to reflect on the terminals and out in the space. And you're thinking about integration. You're thinking about you as you are and the world as it is. And you are also getting this sort of mental feedback from Marty as they start to go out and see things. And you begin to see through these like reflecting pools this dance of psi energy. And you see, first and foremost, the difference in a visual representance between yourselves as Syads and Marty as a Scion. Marty glows with a singular, powerful light. A light that has this intensity and focus to it, whereas you and Bram, and you suspect Mice as well, glow with a less focused, less intense light, but has more shiftings of color and nuance and flexibility. And you are out there and you're feeling the naturalness of your state. And as you are focusing, and as Bram, you're sort of flexing these new psi muscles that you have, both of you become aware, and you're assuming Marty might be seeing a little bit of this themselves, that the difference between the two of you is not so much its inherent nature, it is in the artificiality of the nature of Marty's power. That there's more than just human in that. Like, your source comes from a very natural, as part of human evolution, but your subquantum senses, and Bram, you're feeling, in game terms, you're feeling your new third primary aptitude of quantikinesis. Really pick up on there's something very different. Marty does not come across by natural evolution. Whatever the Prometheus tank did to them, no path from you and the way you are exists to that. And that is a very stark sort of present feeling in these like multiple reflecting pools. It's harder for Mice for you to interpret that. It is very much a very visual representation because you're not in the mind link and you have your cyclot senses shut down. But you do see this like stark difference between the energy flowing from Bram and Hannah and the energy flowing and emanating from Marty. You had a question, Hannah.
Oh, actually, I didn't have a question. I was just kind of thinking of how I would, what I would do to interpret that as part of the scene they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to try to do is through the visual medium, I'm going to try to make it so that Bram and my lights kind of harmonize as a bioluminescence in the water, and I start showing and I kind of start to like sculpt into the imagery of it. Marty's as she's like a gazebo, or they're like a gazebo on a path above the water with a very bright artificial light.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to make the path still look very harmonious, that you can see both that and this, but they're very different from each other. And try to start interpreting that through the bang board.
Okay. And as you're doing that, you're like the water from under you starts to like seep up into like the floorboards of the gazebo, and I'd like both of you to roll for your subquantum sense capability. I think that's just going to amount to a psi
plus
psi plus one roll.
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't succeed and I botched.
Uh-oh.
Psi plus 1 is 40-10. I have one success that explodes. So one success, and I have to bring my dog back in now.
Okay,
So sorry.
no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hannah, you get lost in this. Like you're trying to find a harmony here, and that alien, unhuman artificiality that you're sensing in Marty really starts to grate at you, and like you're feeling a wellspring of fear start to bubble up from you, and it's starting to cascade out into the performance over the mental link. And we will tell Nigel what he experiences. And Mice, you were starting to see things go wrong.
I'm inclined to say mice might just drop their cycloak and try to plug in and salvage the performance if that's a thing that can happen.
So yeah, the Hannah being the one wielding the board, like you, Bram, you definitely feel something going wrong with Hannah, and you think you catch a glimpse of something, a truth in this mire, but you are also feeling the things starting to fall apart from your connection to Hannah. Mice, are you dropping and getting into the mix?
Why not? Yeah, just go for it.
Okay, so your cycloak drops, and how are you trying to salvage the situation?
Well, first, a cat is going to walk across.
Well, yeah, of course.
So, I guess, between Hannah and Bram, who seems more like approachable at the moment, is Hannah like zoned out or?
Hannah's composedly freaking out on the inside, I think, from that description. Like she looks pretty composed, but you could, you know her, you know us.
And Bram, what are you focusing? Are you focusing on the glimmer of revelation, or are you focusing on your freaking out friend?
The past several days have very much been on the course of discovery and understanding. But one of my aspirations is to hang out with and get to know Hannah better. So I'm going to follow the aspiration and put the revelation to the side and make sure my friend is okay.
Okay.
I want to reach through the link and just see if there's anything I can do to try and like steady her waters.
Okay.
Her holographic water.
Her holographic waters, absolutely. So yeah, you see Bram go and like you can tell that they're in that telepathic simpatico, and you see him go to her, and you can tell like things are starting to like whatever sort of harmonic waves that are producing this result out there are they're starting to stabilize, but that means that whatever constructive interference was going on is also starting to dwindle. What would you be doing in that moment then?
So, I mean, I guess I'll say to Bram like, "Oh, mind if I tag in and try and establish a mind link as well?"
Okay.
At least to start.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and make that telepathy roll then.
It's psi plus mode, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One success.
Okay, yeah, so you're able to basically slip in, and then I'd like you to roll for subquantum sense as well. So psi plus 1 die.
No success.
No successes. Would you like to spend any momentum?
Do it.
Sure. How many do we have at this point?
You have 5 because Hannah botched.
I'll spend 2.
Sounds good.
If that suits people.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Oh, nice. A 9 and a 10.
Nice.
Very nice.
And another 9. So 3 successes.
All right.
I just fell.
So, what happens is as Bram goes to Hannah to try and calm her, and as that sort of that peak of constructive interference starts to dwindle, you open up your subquantum sense. You open up your awareness of the totality of quantum senses and subquantum senses that allows you. And you see a state between Marty's powerful but artificial mastery over psi and your dimmer but more wide-ranging state of psi ability. You see an enhanced psiad state, and the revelation is that nothing about the process that Marty went through, the Scion process, precludes them being able to multiple wide-ranging, powerful expressions of psi. So it had to have been deliberately designed that way.
So, with their help, I kind of realize I'm getting lost in my kind of Hannah's kind of old fear and anxiety of being seen and not having a place in this world and having a place imposed on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to actually try to activate my iatrosis relief
Okay.
for anxiety, but I want to try to do it as part of the performance, so it would cover all of us who may be affected.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. Go ahead and do that.
So that's I roll my vitakinesis for that,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's more like it. That's 3 successes.
Yeah. You sort of synthesize the moment. You feel it flow through you and over you. Smoothing out your anxiety, smoothing out your fear, and it crashes out through the telepathy, crashes and begins to be represented out in the hologram, and there's this moment of perfect clarity amongst the three of you and amongst Marty, where that thing that Mycelium just realized crystallizes in all of your minds. And you feel, those of you who are connected to Marty, feel like this breaks through something in their own mind. And like you get a huge wave of feedback of, it would be like upset if it were not for the Vitakinetic smoothing of it. But it is definitely surprise at that sort of understanding of artificiality and imposed limits. And
I feedback both our relief and surprise into the system.
yeah, and it does wave and it goes out and there's this beautiful scintillating ripple in the holographic water, and eventually Marty does kind of like raise their hand and like taps out.
I just missed it. Or I let the I take my fingers off the bang board, or however it is you.
Yeah,
end these
you will it to stop doing its thing. And they take a moment out in the space, look around, and then make their way back up to the backstage area. Before they get into the room, do you guys talk about anything?
I kind of got away.
Gonna put the side cloak back up.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll probably both realize Hannah just kind of figured something out about herself in that little moment, but
I will like hold like I'll shift from like touching your shoulder to actually holding your hand. You all right?
Oh, yeah. And I'll time it so yeah, it kind of got away from me there. Sorry about that. Thanks. Whew.
All right.
Heady stuff.
Yeah, I mean that was intense. I felt like my whole face opened, and then I was touched on the inside of my face.
Gross, but yeah, that seems accurate. You all right?
Gross, but like in a pure way.
I'm okay. Yeah.
Marty opens the door and like kind of collapses onto the couch where they were previously sitting,
Marty, I'm real sorry about that. Didn't mean for that to get away like that.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's totally fine. Um,
That's powerful stuff, combining all that like that.
yes, very much it was. I think there's definitely a future in this, but
Maybe under like supervised settings.
most certainly, most certainly. Maybe not probe too deeply into fundamental natures of our abilities.
Yeah.
That I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that because we've always been told that it's the way it has to be.
I mean, depending on where the knowledge of them actually came from, I guess I can kind of understand why somebody might want to limit growth of these powers like this, but also kind of an outrage, right?
Yeah, it kind of is. Like we could be better. We could be more than we
How-
are, and I'm assuming we all felt the same thing. That the deliberate nature of the design.
Yeah, that's what I picked up on.
That
I
and something
mean,
distinctly alien about the way yours is in general, but we know. Obviously, it's something imposed on you. Sorry, what was that, Bram?
well, I mean, we know that the chambers were designed by, what's his name? The
Cassell,
guy.
Cassell's, Wheedler, and Barano were the
Yeah,
three
yeah. So,
architects.
like, we know that there was, a human element in them, and
Well,
maybe that was the point. Maybe they were like, hey, here's this thing, this chamber makes it better and bigger, but we can only do it in this, direction.
you might want to ask Frankie when she's back around about whether or not whether or not the chambers were actually designed by them. She's got her own theories on that one, I think.
And even if they
Or
did design them, how trustworthy they are, I'm sure she could
or if
comment
they were
upon.
working under artificially imposed constraints as well.
That's some big questions, my friends. Some big questions indeed. Something
Yep.
I need to look into. I'm not. Well, they say in over at the school that even if you leave the school, no one ever really leaves the school. So I suppose I could call up some old friends and the like and make some inquiries. But
Yeah, I don't know if you want to get more roped in. I don't know if you want to get roped into whatever that might cause. I don't know. People keep telling me this is all going to kick over some kind of ant's nest, and
I definitely felt
you yourself
I
said that
remember
to me.
saying that to you specifically, and I don't particularly understand what I meant when I said it, but I do feel that it's true, and something about this feels. I think we might be getting a bigger picture of the nest.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this though: if I do this again, or for other people, I'm definitely not going to look into those specific questions.
Yeah.
That might
Let's
be a
let's
little
let's
too much to just lay on someone.
spend some thoughts about something that might be a little bit more,
Mundane.
mundane or broadly applicable.
Yeah,
But
I
it
guess I will
certainly
kind
has
of
legs. The thing that you did with your healing
psychokinesis stuff.
ability,
Yeah.
that I felt. That was
I think
new.
I think that's the part I'm real interested in with exploring with this. I feel like that could be something people really enjoy and bring, especially after scary things like the other day. Be kind of
Uh,
comforting.
and I guess I felt a little something. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Kind of looks over to you, Bram, and says, "Bram, what can you do?"
My primary mode aptitude, is telekinesis. The telepathy is it's not as strong, but it's there.
They say, "Can I take a look?"
Yeah.
And they close their eyes for a moment, and then like open them up a little too wide and look at you. See, this is the weird thing with you lot. When I look at others who've went through the process, there's one strong, definitive, this is what you are. But I see they blink a little bit. I see 3 in you now. 3 strong, like core power abilities and resonances. I see the telekinesis. I see the the psychokinetic. I see the telepathy. And I see something that I've never felt before. But theoretically, I know what it is. It's the quantum kinetics.
Is that the thing that lets me like hide myself from you?
I suppose. I mean, the Chitrabranu, before what happened to them happened, I mean, that was their thing. And, we haven't seen that in quite a few years.
Could they hide themselves from other scions?
Yeah, that was one of their main abilities, the sort of the core experience. I didn't ever meet one. They're very rare, from what I can tell. And then, as far as we can tell, all of them died. In a really tragic thing, but I can feel it. The fact that I can feel something in you that feels like it's there and it's supposed to be there, and it's not something I feel because I've gotten around. I've looked, taken a gander at any and all sort of scion I can take a see. I've never seen one of them, and I'm seeing this thing I've never seen before in you. So I'm assuming that's what it is, and that's wild.
That makes sense. Your logic seems sound. Yeah, it doesn't feel like something that I can touch very deeply.
I know it shines about as brightly as the other two. So I just see the and she looks over to you, Hannah, and they say, I just see the Vitikinesis and the classentience with you. And she kind of looks.
yeah.
They look over to Mycelium like, I'm sorry, we're leaving you out of this, friend.
Oh, I'm fine.
His
But yeah,
emotional
this is
support
crazy.
abilities are as powerful as any of my own psi abilities for sure. Yeah, I guess that's really interesting because I mean, I can do the cloak thing as well, but I don't
Yeah,
think I have anything else going on besides what we already know.
I don't know. I mean, you definitely. I mean, Bram, I can tell you're strong. But yeah,
Well,
I can't really. I don't really know. I can't. Like I said, I've never really spent any time with the quantum kinetics, so I can't really be that too authoritative on it. But it feels like that's what it is, and it was a
I wonder.
real tragedy that we lost them because their abilities were really, really amazing, particularly in conjunction with vitikinesis. There are so many people who have this
And they're the
corruptive
ones that can like change matter into other matter. Is that right?
something
Sorry,
like
my
that,
schooling's not great on all this. I have to
something like
might
that.
need to do
Yeah,
some reading.
yeah. I mean, there's plenty of information out there from a sort of like scientific. They were big into research and experimentation, but from what I understand, it is only through combining vitikinesis and quantikinesis that some of these poor people who are afflicted by quantum flux diseases can actually be healed.
Well, now I
well,
feel
wait,
like
say
I kind of
what?
Yeah, I mean, you know that the aberrants, like, just by being around and doing their things, they make people sick, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
And, like, some of those diseases can't be cured just with vitikinesis because they're too tied up in the corruption.
I wonder if it'd be possible for Bram and I to combine our abilities, even though we're different people, because since we can connect to each other's minds.
I can't say. I don't know. I know it's pretty easy for me to hook up and meld my abilities with another scion, but
Huh?
I don't know about I don't know about the two of you.
Could could you try to meld your abilities with mine?
I mean, hey, we're sitting here having a having a chat. Why not?
Yeah. What we want to try? Well, all right. How
Well,
does that work?
let me walk you through this. I mean, it's something that I've done several times with other scions. Um, they kind of lead you through just like a quick, like sort of set of mnemonics and like very quick meditation techniques to walk you through the Psylink ability,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel, especially with with it's very easy over the telepathic network to do so, and you feel each other. You all have to spend a psi point, those of you who are doing it.
Yeah.
And you just feel like this connection forge. Now, the way the rules work on this with Syads and Scions, it's not as robust a connection as the Scions have with each other. So you really don't feel that sort of touching and melding of powers. In fact, you don't feel much of that at all. But Marty kind of like puts their hand on the edge of the couch and says, "That's different. That's different. That's a jolt. I feel power. Like it's not so much I feel your abilities touching with mine, but I feel more powerful than I feel normally."
Like in the sense that you have access to mine, or in the sense that yours is enhanced, or both?
They kind of like center themselves. Like, no, I feel like. Let me try something real quick.
Please.
And they close their eyes, and you sort of over the telepathic connection, you feel their senses expand to an incredible degree. Like you begin to
Oh yeah,
like,
now you gain one psi as well. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. They use a psychonavigation power, and you feel through them, you used to begin to gain awareness of the solar system.
Yeah, I'm
shit.
I go.
Neat.
Yeah, it is something like, and they start to like look around and say like, yeah, I can normally do this, but with you guys at my back, I feel more like I just have a bit more oomph. You guys have any plans you want to check out?
Yeah, actually. What was it?
Where was that research
Jupiter's
station?
rings, or was it yeah, what was that research?
Saturn's rings. Yeah.
How about we take a gander at some of Saturn's rings?
You know what? I love to take acid and look at Saturn rings, but so here we go.
Feels a little like that.
Just as a question, is this stuff that only Bram and Hannah can currently see?
No, you got into the telepathic network, so you can do it.
Okay.
Although you do have your cycle. I'll let you in on it. Yeah, it's fine. We'll let it slide.
Cool.
Yeah.
Frankie's gonna be so jealous.
I know.
Just rub it in more.
Yeah. So you feel their perceptions narrow down, and you see this sort of panoramic view of Saturn and its rings. And you do have those coordinates that Frankie found. It shouldn't be too terribly. If someone wants to give me a science roll, if you want to prompt them to look at that specific part of Saturn's rings.
Trying to roll, but there's a cat in the way.
Oh, no.
Okay, here we go.
Bram has no science.
I do try to feel if I have any control over what we're seeing, or if Marty's just
No,
amplifying but using mine.
Yeah, Marty is very much in the driver's seat here.
Yep.
Probably
gonna like briefly a little car sick at that, and then it's fine.
I have 2 successes on science for.
Yeah, if you want to do so, you can feed them kind of some astrogation data to focus in on that area of the rings where you believe that station is.
I'm trying to think of how to. It's fine. I'll drop the cycle.
Well,
why not?
So
Okay.
Just go for it.
Well,
You're like, hey, by the way, I'm here too.
Yeah, they kind of like step up straight, like cheeky bugger.
Could you focus on that little shepherd moon right there?
All right. I'm gonna take a look at you later, though. And yeah, they focus in, like you feel your mind's eye focus in on that area, that sort of that particular ring and that particular orbital trajectory, and sort of well concealed amongst like several like city block sized chunks of rock and ice, you see a station, very just moving silently out in the stars. It looks to be pretty big. It has a dock to it. You see several space stations in it, spaceships docked to it. There doesn't seem to be any markings or anything on it. Like there's no symbols of any organizations. The like, it seems to be kind of a what you would assume a black site space station would look like. And there
I'll
it
be
is,
damned.
just out there.
Can you can we tell more what that is, Marty? I'd heard there was some sort.
Through the connection, can I use my telekinetic senses to try and get like an idea of its shape or its dimensions, any like details that we don't necessarily see from our current viewpoint?
Yeah, go ahead and make that roll. It will be more difficult than normal. I'm gonna have a +2
Feel free to
difficulty on that
use,
roll to try and get any information about it.
So
Feel
I'm
free to
going to
use some of that momentum.
yeah, telekinesis inside gives me a 6 dice pool. How much momentum do we have?
We should have 3 right now.
3. Yeah.
How much do you want me to spend?
Up to you.
1 or 2?
I'll
I'd
spend
like to have
2.
1 just in case.
So I will spend 2. I'm rolling 8d10. And that is a failure. Not a botch, but a failure.
All right. Well, that adds a momentum to the pool.
So we still have 2.
I have an idea. So with electrokinesis, potentially mice can see and possibly decrypt any emissions carrying information that might be leaving the station.
Okay.
So
So
try
once
to
again,
do
that'll be
that.
a
Little
+2
bastard.
difficulty to try and make that roll. So that'll be your yeah.
How do people feel about just using those other 2 momentum?
I'm fine with you doing it. I say we go big.
All right.
Poor Marty. Just laying a lot on him right now.
Yeah, they're having a blast. This is fun.
Cool.
So psi plus mode plus 2.
Yeah, no, not +2. Wait,
Or
yeah,
with-
for
plus
the
two
momentum,
plus
yes,
2.
but it is
Yeah.
also at a +2 difficulty, so it means you're gonna have to
Right.
roll a total of 3 successes to get any effect out of this.
I got 2 10s, so that's a
Oh,
start.
there
Let's
you
see what
go.
that does. Yes, that's an 8.
Okay.
3 successes.
What?
I do have to also roll cunning plus enigmas to actually decrypt anything.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah, you see a string of data, like being like on some sort of transmission medium that you're able to like snatch out, and so you have a data packet that you can try and analyze if you want to. In the meanwhile, Marty is scanning in deeper. I did a roll for them, and they are analyzing this thing, and it looks like this place has been designed to be a sort of nondescript and like as big of a black box as one could possibly make it. So getting like firm details out of it are pretty difficult. They do start to sort of peer inside the facility, and sort of the first layer that they're able to detect in the interior of it is jarring, but not in a sense of something's like wrong or spooky about it. It's just really weird to see like early 20th century architecture inside of this thing. It looks like a old style like interior of somebody's like house or business in like 1920s architecture and design. And did you roll to decrypt that?
I did 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay, so you grab that data packet, and I gotta think of something juicy for you. What you get out of that is it looks like it's a portion of a report regarding, it's an update from the Chromatic War. And it is sort of a back and forth conversation that describes a situation where forces on the ground having a confrontation between themselves, not something like not one can describe as allied, but non-hostile chromatics, as well as hostile chromatics, and what can only be described as a ball of plasmic light that seems to be ordering and controlling the hostile chromatics.
Interesting.
And shortly after you've decrypted that, something that all of you can only assume is what looking like your own cycloaks and be from the outside, the whole area goes blank.
Cuttlefish.
Yeah,
I think I saw
there's
a sea
just
of them.
nothing there.
Uh-oh.
And Marty kind of backs up and says, "What? I think we might have gotten made."
Yeah.
Oops. What do you reckon that means? Something good, I bet.
We'll see. We'll see.
Oh, wait. I got an idea. And I find I have a sense of the biggest thing that I can move.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I want to do is I want to find the biggest rock that's nearby, and I want to push against it. I want to deflect it such that there is, over time, like in my mind, I envision there being like a new gap will open in the rings.
Okay.
But all I'm doing is just pushing one rock out of like line, which is going to cause a chain effect of bumping into other rocks.
Okay. Make that telekinesis roll. That'll also be at +2 difficulty.
Okay.
And what is the
right.
biggest scale? Like how does it describe the biggest thing you can move?
Let me look at my powers. So Scion can change an object's kinetic energy in a specific direction and change its velocity. Accelerate a car before beyond its normal maximum, force it to come to a stop. Scion can increase or decrease the speed of a target within his range by 1 speed scale for every 2 successes. If used in space, the Scion can increase or decrease space speed by a maximum of 1 by spending 3 successes. The Scion can target objects of his size, parameter, or smaller, and can increase the target size by a maximum of +1 by using additional successes. So something that is size 1, I should be able to manipulate.
I think your size parameter, it might be larger based off your psi rating. That is part of like the many different little fiddly bits of psi in the beginning.
I'm wondering if it's possible to share academic knowledge so that Mike can like transfer a textbook on orbital mechanics over to Bram to help. It's like push it here.
You can, if you're part of the telepathic network, you can communicate with me
you
directly.
can.
I mean, I'll give it a roll if there's a roll to be given.
Make a science roll.
Yeah.
because I have 2 successes.
Okay. I will tell you right now that that is not enough to overcome the difficulty being imposed. So I will say that you reach out, and it is very hard just because you're reaching so far, and like it's a shitty connection because you're not fully in sync. And you telepathically feel a big rock, but it just doesn't move.
More of a stroke than a shove.
Yeah, more of a stroke than a shove. But it is strange to sort of like tactily feel a space rock millions of miles away.
Weird.
Marty's like, I think we're gonna shut this down.
Probably for the best.
Yeah. Don't know what we're dealing with. What? So you had me look at a very specific part of space, and there was something there. So that elicits my curiosity.
Yeah, so, she's not here right now, but our friend's like really into conspiracy stuff, and she had like been talking about a rumor there was something there out in the rings of Saturn, and recently she found those coordinates, and we've been curious. So didn't expect to see anything there because she has a lot of crazy ideas, but we did. She'll be really excited to hear about that. I'm a little scared.
And I will say, Mice, part of your ability, you can take that data and put it onto like your mini comp.
Absolutely.
That you grabbed off.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, it's not like video or anything. It's a conversation, like sort of like a report conversation being dictated of that scenario happening. And Marty's like, they kind of like lean back, like pulling themselves back into their own head, and then look over at you, Mice, and says, was wondering why they had someone who didn't really feel like much in this conversation.
Well, everybody needs a token baseline friend, so I thought I'd play the role for a little while.
I have many. But all right, that's fine. I understand secrecy is important to people, privacy and the like. But it is interesting that there are 3 of you grouped together.
It is, right?
I've come to find that in this crazy world of ours, people touched by psi, by the Noetic Continuum, it's not too wild that they start to find each other. There's a pull to these sort of things.
Yeah, it is kind of like gravity.
A little bit, yeah. Right, well, you lot continue to be very interesting. I definitely think we should try out some of your abilities. Now, like I said, I can get some people who I know will be discreet, who will, consider being a part of something new, more than adequate payment to keep their mouths shut until you're ready to go more public with it.
I really like that. I like I said, maybe next time we'll go a little, like we said, next time we'll go a bit more mundane. So
yeah, maybe something a bit more cinema.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I am going to get myself back up the well a little bit, and I'll leave you kids to it. This has been fascinating, and I'm certainly eager to see what will happen next with you lot.
Thanks a lot for being part of that experiment.
No,
Feel free to come to our show next week.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I loved the preview, so I'm sure the premiere will be fantastic.
I'm looking forward to it. Now we got some more to build on because that's kind of part of it. So
absolutely.
Thanks for that too.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let myself out, and you kids have a nice night. And we're gonna take a break on that.
Cool.
Nice.
See y'all soon. All right, well, welcome back to Simulacra Studio presents Trinity, Continuum, Aeon, Lunar Rocks. So, after a very successful but incredibly upsetting and jarring revelatory museum bang experimental session, our punks on the moon find themselves with a bit of free time in the week upcoming the premiere of their new show. So, what are you guys focusing on while you guys sort of get the premiere spinned up?
I want to try and make money. Bram has a severe need of funds now that he no longer has a steady paycheck from the mob. So he's going to try and find some odd jobs or something that he can do to earn some reasonably decent money.
Okay. Noted. What about Hannah? What would Hannah be up to?
I am going to be actually just working on buzz for our show, like doing some little like using my sock puppet accounts, do some little paparazzi stuff about, has Frankie been spotted? Is she going to be there? She wasn't at the soft premiere, and basically, and just didn't really kind of dropping little hints to hype people up about that. And
Okay.
if Bram needs help with anything, I'm happy to help out with that.
Sure. What about
And practicing with main board.
Yeah. What about Mycelian?
Mycelian is also into the idea of making money, but when not actively working on that, is going to continue crafting the storybook apparatus holographic thing and seeing about maybe integrating that, like working with Hannah to get that integrated with the
Bang board?
museum,
Gotcha.
the bang board.
Okay,
If
so
you're ready to do that as part of the show, we could try it, but yeah, it doesn't take
I
much
mean,
convincing.
Not necessary. We can save the bang board for the next show, but
Let's see what we can do.
I mean, it's kind of like working in the space on off hours would be a thing. So, what type of job would Bram be looking for? How are you going out and looking for jobs, or what are you focusing on?
Well, I think that's where he's going to find the most difficulty. Is everything that he can think of is something that comes from his criminal background, and not so much like a thing he can do, but a channel he can tap or a resource he can call upon. And the last thing that he wants to do right now is step on anybody's toes. So I'd say there's probably a good solid day where he just he starts and then stops and then starts and then stops. And that might be where he reaches out to both Hannah and Mice for help.
So how does he broach the subject?
How do you find work?
Good fucking question. I mean, I mostly live off, UBI and what we make from our shows.
Yeah, they ain't really gonna cut it. I mean, I got to make sure my ma's got space, So
yeah. Speaking
I
of, I
mean,
want to talk to you about something with her, but we can do that later. As far as making, I mean, there's always looking up for day jobs on OpNet. I mean, there's plenty of posting boards we can take a look at. I used to find volunteer opportunities that way when I was younger. Probably find paying odd jobs on there. There'll probably be lots of helping haul away something.
I mean, I can do that with
Might not find
telekinesis.
shooting people type jobs. Well, I don't know if you want to do that in front of people, or if you do, I don't know. Are we just out with this now? Not sure.
I don't think they often ask for shooting type jobs on the OpNet. I think
That's what I'm saying. That kind of work probably wouldn't find that way. But if you're just looking for some regular old day
I
labor,
wouldn't want to. No, I wouldn't want to do that. No, let's try those things. Where are they? Show me.
sure. I'm gonna start pulling up some, Moon Craigslist.
Yes, 22nd
Stuff like
century
helping people
Craigslist.
move, or
Craters list.
babysitting. I don't know what people do.
Yeah,
I'll try
I
to pull up
mean,
as much as I
so
can.
here's the thing about the future. The vast majority of labor is automated.
God damn it.
Yeah. So most work involves repair and maintenance of automated machinery, monitoring them. There's a lot of like white collar stuff, like programming the machines and getting them to work in a more efficient routine for doing their jobs. Service work is out there. The rich people who could very well have like a fully automated, robot cleaning staff and stuff, will pay people to do that job because there's a degree of prestige to it. But that's actually fairly competitive because if you don't do as good a job as a machine, then why would they hire you?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a degree of classism in that as well. So yeah, I mean, it's that is sort of, you're running into the dilemma of young people everywhere in this solar system of what do I do to get beyond UBI, make money to do things, and that's why people get higher education. That's why people go out and try and join psi orders even as neutrals.
That might be
That's
jobs of the RSA for you.
I mean, you could definitely join the ISRA, but they're not necessarily a thing that pays very well. They're a massive volunteer. Like, you'll be taken care of, and you can talk to your mom about joining the ISRA and have her getting taken care of. But that's more of like joining a monastery kind of thing.
There's also the fact that Bram asked for advice from a couple of members of an underground punk art collective.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
exactly
But
rolling.
I'm just talking about
I
like
have a tattoo that says "Live for free or die." So
yeah. So yeah, I mean I'm just describing the dilemma of young people everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. Well, I mean, probably like the closest to where you are in terms of things. There is work on the docks, just because there's so much traffic going in and out. Most of like the heavy lifting and stuff is managed by machines, but they always need a physical presence of people there for, like I said, maintenance and monitoring of that sort of thing.
Well, maintenance, not so much my thing, but monitoring I can do.
Yeah, I mean, you can, yeah, that's probably the first thing that comes to mind that is available. But the thing about that is long hours of just basically sitting in a row of terminals, going through camera feeds, looking for error messages or error signifiers.
And just like over the course of like a couple of hours of him looking and like kind of going away and then coming back, it's just like, oh, I think I fucked up. I don't think I should have left.
I mean, there's a reason
Have
people
you
like become crime.
I
Have
know,
you
like,
considered
everything I keep
billing
thinking of,
yourself?
it's like, I mean, I just kind of want to rob something, you know?
Well, there's always that.
How about presenting yourself as a security consultant? You don't actually do the security, but you can advise people on who they might want to contact, what kinds of muscle they might need. That way you actually could provide work for some of your former comrades rather than stepping on their toes. I have no idea if this is a thing people do. I'm just a kid from the downside.
No, that makes sense. That
I mean,
might,
you already have, you already have experience in the entertainment world for this kind of thing. We can start building you an OpNet presence and some business cards.
yeah. And there's still I can still provide means to connect with people,
Yeah, one I wouldn't necessarily advertise out loud, but let people drop some hints with that one, and I think people pay for that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I could do that.
Maybe you can
Yeah,
get questionable government contracts.
Come on, man.
I don't think I'm really
I
good
mean-
with the whole paperwork
Well,
stuff. So
There is a
We'll
war
leave that
start,
part
but
aside.
I'd rather you not go off to that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that pays.
Oh yeah, every other ad page is join the legions. Or, FSA military. Service means citizenship.
You.
nah, I really ain't my speed. I mean, I'm look, I'm a soldier, but not quite like that.
Also, kind of don't really want you to leave.
No. No.
No,
But
I
no,
like the idea of putting out your shingle as a security consultant.
yeah, no, that makes sense. I think I could do that. Yeah, like sort of talk
Obviously,
about security with people and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Make me a culture roll. Almost said culture war.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Start a
Another
culture
kind of game.
war.
Actually have culture.
I was going to ask if I could also help with this, since
Sure.
I imagine Hannah's probably already
I would
researching how
like
to.
to do cunning, culture cunning.
Sure, yeah, do it.
All right, that is 7d10.
So if I go
And-
first, I give him extra dice, or do I give him enhancement? how
You would
helping
give him
works.
enhancement.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Do you want extra enhancement?
Will this happen to have anything to do with low gravity or locks or gunplay?
Or all three?
Gunplay, sure.
Okay, then my specialty will provide an enhancement.
I will also give you
So-
2 enhancement.
I will
All
also
right,
give two
well,
enhancement.
7d10.
Sure.
Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 successes before anything else.
Woo-wee.
Okay.
Well, you're gonna find a good job.
So 6 successes plus 2 from Murphy, and however much my specialty gives, plus 2 or plus 3.
What's the total skill in that? Specialty?
Aim is 3.
So it'll provide 1 enhancement.
Okay.
And also 2.
Okay. So,
Oh, 2 from mice.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's 11. Holy shit.
Personal
that's
security
our
chief
biggest-
for the space.
I think that's our biggest role in this game so far.
Absolutely it is.
Finding
So,
a
yeah,
part-time job.
You actually finding a job. You actually come upon a number of postings. They're not like you have to go pretty deep into like you start at future Reddit and future Craigslist, and then like you go to like various other places that more and more specialized sites for these sort of things. But you're able to navigate them fairly easily, and you do find a couple of postings for like security personnel, at various like corporate offices. Some, like I said, there's personal estates of wealthy people who are like human servants as their thing. So you find some of that, and like one of the things that comes up in addition to all of those very viable ones, you find a posting that like it jumps out because you see the salary range on it, which is ridiculous. You like when you're like kind of going through the areas around the docks, because you were still looking at that area as well, and you see a posting, and the reason, like I said, the reason you're clicking on it because the salary is ridiculous, and it is flagged Scion only, and it involves operating jump rings, which jump rings are pieces of biotechnology that are basically mini stargates that link places in the solar system, and they require a Scion to be attuned to it. And
That's going to raise
there
all kinds
are
of questions.
way like just based off of the like salary expectations and like the number of people looking for this, like the number of Scions to people who want to feel their jump have regular access to their jump rings there's a huge disparity in it.
I try to look up more information on these things. Like, what would be required of me? Do I have to be a particular kind of scion?
Nope. It seemed like
Huh.
this is a thing like doing a little bit of looking into it with that ridiculous role. Like this is a thing scions do in their off times, like just to bring a little money into it. It's a very safe, cushy job for them. And when they're not doing other scion stuff, they literally like hang out in a room and feed psi into this like apparatus and get paid fairly well. They leverage their rarity.
Eh.
And like you're pretty sure you could physically do the job.
I'm like looking between Hannah and Mice. I'm like, all right, so like this is a scam, right? This has got to be bullshit, right?
Scamming people with psi seems like a bad idea, right?
There's
Yeah.
no way. This is too easy.
Well, when you don't, well, here's the thing. When you have a skill or a resource, I guess what we do is a skill. Can't learn it. I don't know. When you have something that's rare, people pay for it, right? That's why artists make money.
Well,
Or people who
ideally.
can, program things. Well, yeah, it's true. Well, yes.
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, we
Well,
can
hang
check it
on.
out.
Okay. So like, yeah, okay. Presuming I do, and I might, I need to know. I need to be able to say what I am. Because I
That's
can't
the
go.
thing, right? Because what kind of credentials do they look at? Do they just have you like demonstrate your ability, or do they need to see like that you're part of one of the orders, or whatever paperwork they give you when you go through the chamber? Not sure on that one. Do we need
Once
to
a,
fake something for you?
once again, riding off of that role, there's a spectrum of like, yeah, we need to see your credentials. We need like at the very least we need to know you're in good standing with with your psi order. Highly secure thing. And then there's closer to your old life end of things of someone who's gotten their hands on a jump ring. And want its regular use for, things that they don't want questions asked for, and thus are themselves unlikely to ask questions about.
Mhm.
That is more my speed. I will send a message out to a couple of those.
Okay, yeah. You get pretty eager responses from like I said, it's more closer to your old life. So like you kind of get the smell of people who are tied into the business of it, but they seem to be eager to set up a meeting with you so that you can prove your verifieds and get you set up on a shift.
To this may not ultimately help things, but to give you all and the audience an idea of where Bram's head is at. Bram, his primary contribution to the Vikings was in the form of muscle. He was a very good shot, and he was just really good at hurting people. He was good at being intimidating. So the stipulation of his retirement was, if I recall correctly, kind of to not do that stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
But
Don't do that one thing you can do.
well, and this is legitimately a different thing. To Bram, this is not what he did for the Vikings. This is kind of a totally different thing. In some ways, and maybe because he's been reading a little bit of like Isra's stuff, just like waiting in like waiting rooms. He's like, I'm kind of a new person. And so like in his mind, this would not be stepping on too many toes. If you were like breaking kneecaps or flashing his piece to like get somebody to cough up, that'd be one thing. But if he's sitting there essentially operating a piece of specialized equipment, That doesn't really
That's
seem like
something-
it's.
Like if we were talking about it, I'd be like, well, is that something you ever saw any other cobras do? If not, then you're fine.
No, I didn't see him do anything quite like this. I mean, every once in a while, I'd see Zafir, he'd fire up a backhoe, and he'd go to town on some rocks or something. But nah, nothing like this.
I mean, I'm sure they have a system by which they let you know if you're in trouble. I say you go for it.
Yeah, and you know what? The money I'm making, I'll give him a cut. I reckon that'll smooth things over if it has to come to that.
Do you
Yeah,
owe them
alright.
that?
It's not a matter of if they think that I do, then yes, I do.
Yeah, so you are able to set up a meeting, kind of at a out of the way shipping and receiving facility, and they they show up, and they kind of like they're very happy to have an applicant for this sort of thing, and they're like literally unboxing the jump ring, because it's a situation of like, we got this thing because we got it. Don't ask questions.
And now we need to be able to use
Now we can actually use it. So they're bringing it up, they're setting it up. They're like, everyone's like reading like these instruction manuals. So it takes a good hour for them to set it up. But once it's set up, they follow the instructions to get you formatted to it, and you feel this connection to it, and it's just this thing that is eager to accept psi being channeled from you into it.
How much psi does it need?
It needs psi every time it's activated.
Okay. My full when I am fully charged, I got 7.
Okay. So yeah, they check out. They don't really check out your and they don't ask for like psi order membership or like freelancer guild or anything like that. They just seem to be very happy to be able to use this particular toy. And you fire it up, and they do a test run. Like they contact someone, you think probably on Earth, and they set up clearly someone on Earth has one of these as well, and they like coordinate it. You feed it a bit of psi, and a large package sort of just pops into existence in the middle of the psi ring. And they're like, excellent, let's talk shifts. Because obviously, we've got to coordinate times, and they go through this whole like semi-legitimate employment ritual.
For their semi-legitimate shipping business.
Absolutely. So with that established, with your fairly ridiculously cushy job established, what about Hannah and Mice? What would you two be up to in addition to helping Bram get a job?
Well, aside from it occurred to me I should also ask about that intercepted report.
Yes.
And just see. So is it just?
Yeah.
Is it a recording or is it text?
It is an audio file of someone like. After you think about it for a little bit, you're thinking that someone was receiving like interstellar telepathic communication, and and they were talking out with what they were being told. So it's kind of it's an audio along with a like text transcript of this conversation.
Just for shiggles, Mice is going to try and use the storybook hollow thing and basically reconstruct a simulation of what's being described, just to have a video.
Yeah,
because why not?
It's pretty broad because you don't really have a lot of details.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're able to project out like, what you think the surface of Chrome Prime might look like, the couple images that you've seen of what chromatics look like, and this weird ball of plasmic light that seems to be the center of whatever situation is being described.
Intriguing.
And as you're sort of looking at it, it even this like abstract, like imaginary projection of it, it gives you the chills. Like there's something about it that does not feel right.
I'd like to send a missive to the ISRA and specifically whoever the one was that we were talking to when looking at that chromatic sculpture
Sure, yeah,
thing.
that guy.
That guy. And just see about getting like a meeting at some point after the show.
Sure,
Because
yeah.
this is definitely something I want to follow up on.
Okay, yeah, you send a message to him about that, and he absolutely would love to talk with you after the show. You had some very helpful insights. What about Hannah?
And then back to playing with the synth.
Moog.
I will probably want to spend a lot of time working with the bang board to get better at it and to get better at controlling what I put through it, not getting lost in it, and trying to combine it with my other abilities. And when the others have time, with their abilities as well. At one point, I do pull. I kind of wait for a time when Bram doesn't seem too stressed out, and kind of pull him aside for a chat. So, you got a minute, Bram?
Always. What's up?
All right. So I do the vitakinesis thing, and I kind of been getting pretty good at it. Like, kind of recently feel like I've been getting better at it, even though I've been using it a whole lot.
Sure.
Do you think your mom would like if I tried to regenerate her legs? I mean, I saw that her equipment was kind of old, and I can't really do anything about that or get new equipment, but I could try and see if it would help her. I mean,
that's
I don't
kind
want to
of
assume her own senses. I mean, I would never get rid of my glasses, even though I easily could. So, but if it's something she'd want, I would offer it.
I would have to talk to her, but you
Yeah.
understand she would have to know about you.
Well, obviously, I mean, we're kind of look. People, really important people already know about us. Not that I'm saying your mom's not important, but I'm saying people with the political abilities know about us now. So I'm not as concerned, honestly, at this point. It's not like I want to be out in public, doing my thing yet. But I'm
You
not
can
really
do
too
that?
worried about that anymore.
Like, that's a thing you can do?
I don't know. It'd also be a bit of an experiment, but I think so. I feel like I can. I've been able to. I've experimented with some small stuff with like plants and things, and from what I've been reading about it, like I think so. It might take me a few tries because I'm new at it and all. And we don't have to do it right away. We can wait a little bit. But I just wanted to let you know I'd be willing to if that's something you want. Mm.
Well,
And it looks so awkward at this.
I really appreciate the offer, and I'm gonna talk to her about it. But
No, anyway.
Yeah,
I
let her know it's definitely experimental. Don't get her hopes up too much because, like I said, even if I can do it, it might take a few tries. And I'm new at this kind of thing. And if you have this kind of skill, you should be using it to help people, right?
yeah, yeah, um, yeah. I'll talk with her, and I'll let you know.
All right.
Thank you. That's really
Okay.
that's really very generous of you. Thank you.
Just gives you like a very awkward hug and then goes back to well, I'm gonna go practice some more. See you after work.
All right. And on that note,
do
I
it.
think we're going to wrap up for the evening. As you guys are getting ready for the show and settling into some new patterns, let's go ahead and look over our XP chart here. Did anyone achieve a short-term aspiration for their character?
Yes, I
Uh,
wanted to configure out combining abilities with Bang Board. I think we did some of that.
Okay.
I think I did both of mine. Make
Cool.
some quick money and hang out with and better get to know Hannah.
Absolutely. What about
And I
Max?
had learn more about Psy.
Absolutely. So yeah, you definitely all get one, and all one for each aspiration, and then one for all of you getting it.
Great.
Did anyone achieve a long-term aspiration?
Next time.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to get a drink of water. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Take your time.
Yeah.
I still have this long-term aspiration of creating a truly innovative piece of hollow art. I'm like, this show, whenever this show happens.
I think we can accomplish that.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
No,
It's
worries.
fine. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I apparently I can't talk for long hours as much anymore. No long-term aspirations. I do definitely believe you used all of your momentum in half of your momentum in a scene.
We did.
Yeah.
So you'll get that. I don't quite think you've gotten a story milestone or a group, so we'll go ahead and leave it at that then for XP. Does anyone have anything they'd like to plug before we head out for the evening?
Vote.
Oh yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Depending on when you are getting this, voting may be very imminent. So please, please, please go out and vote. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. Vote fucking Democrats. Because, yeah, man. Sorry. If you watch this show and that is an opinion that surprises you, I'm sorry. Like,
We're punks on the moon.
we're
Yeah.
punks on the fucking moon.
Yeah. Wholeheartedly agree. In addition to voting, I'd like to definitely plug Beyond Electric Dreams, which is my youth culture nexus, Storypath Nexus book, around which this game is pretty much built. So I eagerly would like everyone to check that out. Please rate and review. That definitely helps me get more visibility on it, and that helps me just feel better about myself.
And it's a pretty rad book.
And it's
It
a pretty
is.
fun book. Also, if you'd like to support the show and the channel, you can, of course, follow us here on Twitch. But the best way to do so would be to become a patron at patreon.com/Simulacra Studios. That's the most direct way of helping us out. So until then, I'll see everyone in 2 weeks, and have fun being punks on the moon.
Woo!